This is the culture of convenience, balancing the needs of your business with the needs of your people. This is the culture of convenience. I am producer Kelly, and I'm sitting here with Jeff Kahler, host of Culture of Convenience. And Jeff, we talk about the fact that the whole theme for the show and for your life is balancing the needs of the business with the needs of the people. So where does that start? Where does that come from for you?
So, Kelly, my whole career has been focused on top-down leadership and taking care of your people. And one of the things that come from that is also top up. You know, you're looking top up. And from the time I really started my career when I was 18 years old, I have been an owner. I was blessed to be in the pizza business with my parents. And at 18 years old, we opened our first location. I convinced them to buy a location with me. And so I always, I struggled, of course, because of my age. But more importantly, I was always in charge. Wow. And I had to, in other words, never having a boss. Now, I've had a boss before, before I got the ownership, but I really wanted to make sure I made a really good impression, and I had to because of my age.
Right. So you are 18 years old, right out of high school, not going to go to college, going to get into the business world. And why did you decide on pizza, though?
Well, I do love pizza, and that's how I got the job. But I think more importantly, it's always changing.
Pizza?
It's always different. Not the pizza itself, the business, the process. It's new employees. It's high turnover. So you had a different influx of people, whether it was seasonal or going back to school, part-time, summer, all of that. It just experienced a lot of change. And I like that due to my personality and just who I am. I was just getting into the business during like the delivery phase when delivery started.
Really?
Yeah. So it was relatively new during the early 80s.
Cool.
And I think that the biggest thing for me in building even the podcast and what this is going to become, Culture of Convenience, is saying, are you looking at yourself every day? Are you looking at your team every day and really making it convenient for them to be a part of your team? I mean, are you really taking, a deliberate focus on, are you seriously looking at your HR, your recruiting, your hiring, the tools that you give your team? Because without great tools, you can't do your job. And so we were innovators. We always looked to, the latest oven, the latest point of sale software, the latest technology to do our job. And I think that showed through. Some considered that convenient, meaning having the newest, and then there was downsides to having the first of something. And so because
you have to work out the bugs and stuff.
Yeah. And so when you're early adapters, I even when Ready Training Online, the software company that I founded came about, we were kind of ahead. We used to have to give people, customers, disc, okay, and CDs because they didn't understand cloud. So all it was is just an executable file that would go into their CD player that would launch us on the web, and they didn't even know they were going to the web.
Wow.
And so we really did, because they were so used to buying something in a package. You would go to, Best Buy and pick up a box.
Right. At one point, American Online would send you a disc to get on the internet.
Correct.
So I can understand.
Really?
I can understand them not understanding it.
Yeah.
From that,
yeah.
Then from pizza to software, you notice that there's an overarching theme with running a business. It doesn't matter if you are making dough or if you're making software. You have to be doing that, what did you call it? A deliberate look at yourself and how you are treating the people around you and how you're managing the needs of your business.
Yeah, and the industry. I mean, if you think about the number of updates you get on your phone a month.
Oh, it's mind-boggling.
Okay, so you log into an app and it's an update.
Yeah.
Well, if you take that back to, that's how fast things are changing in your business world. And you may not get those updates. You may not see those updates. You may not hear about them, or you may not be paying attention. And when you do, it will pass you by. So you have to, again, be deliberate about making sure, and it's also about the process of, so it's not only about people, but it's about the process in which you onboard someone. You make them feel welcome on their first day. So this is about
soup to nuts, basically.
Beginning to end, the full gamut of creating a culture of convenience inside your business world.
Well, so then would you say when you talk about the updates and that's how business is, I mean, I find that to be completely overwhelming.
Well, it is, unless it's managed.
Okay.
And so if you take that and you take a look at it, when we took credit cards for the first time in the pizza business. Believe it or not, when we started when I bought the business in 1986, there was no credit card at all. Everything was cash.
I know.
Okay. And I put in a special phone number. I'll never forget a conversation with my dad, or it was my brother. And we were talking about adding credit cards. So we put in a special phone number, and I paid a premium for that. When you bought a line, you had to pay a premium.
Sure.
They about went nuts on me. And we had these really, really innovative, you remember the old, you probably don't remember, the sliders?
I remember, yeah.
Well, we had a miniature version of that.
Okay.
That we had bought. And I mean, they were super expensive.
Really?
And I'm talking $500 for one.
It's basically just like trying to get an imprint of somebody's credit card. You
the old suction cups that was on the counter and Master Charge before it was MasterCard and all, and you'd slide it. Well, they made one of these that you would take to the customer's house, and you would literally have to pull it and do that live time. So can you imagine that in the rain? No. It was just miserable.
Sometimes you couldn't get it to work.
Oh, it was bad. But if you think about that, everybody that tried that, and we probably would get 2 sales a month.
Really?
And I paid all this money, and I got looked at as crazy. I said, credit card's where it's going to be.
Huh.
It's just, caller ID.
Right.
Bell Atlantic, right, which was the phone company before AT&T in Maryland. We had caller ID very first.
Why would you need caller ID at a pizza shop?
Pranks. People calling, that used to be a thing. It's probably not a thing anymore. Nobody really has the time for it, or there's no fun in it. But there used to be people, usually children,
right,
that would call around and prank. There also was adults or middle-aged people, right? That you're sitting there that would call. Here's what they would do. They would call, order pizza, and then
not go pick it up,
or go to pick one up and say, I want to order one. And they would call those seconds, right? They were like, somebody's not going to pick it up after 35 minutes. You figure somebody's not coming or whatever that was.
Sure.
And they'd say, hey, do you have anything ready?
Oh, con artists.
Oh, it was bad.
That's
so you were fighting against that constantly.
Wow.
But back to your change.
Okay.
The constant updating, the constant changing of that world. I mean, I saw it evolve. Was intriguing to me.
Sure.
So I really enjoyed that. And then the original owners were 2 brothers and their family. They actually went into the point of sale business. So they were building point of sales software systems. So I began to dabble in that world.
So when you're talking about that and combining, managing change, keeping up with the latest whatever in your business, whatever that looks like, whether it's point of sales or whether it's pizza, or software or training or any of those things that you mentioned. So the culture of convenience is it streamlining those things and making them more simple? Or what's your angle here, pal?
I think that's one. Okay. But I think for me, as important as that is also, how does the employee or the baseline team member feel? Which, again, in software, it's you using an app. But for us, it's that team member or the guest, making the experience of doing business with you and your company convenient. And so everything that you do in your ecosystem or your culture has to be steered, right, toward that strategy.
Absolutely.
And that kind of becomes the North Star.
Well, I think that has a ton of value in it. I mean, obviously it does have a ton of value. So are you up to the challenge of bringing all that information? Can you handle it? I mean,
I'm up to the challenge of bringing it, but also I think a lot of learning. As I continue to be a CEO of a company, running, a tech company, and my background in retail, and I think, we bring to the table, and many, many, many of our customers, we bring, passion to the conversation. We bring energy to the conversation. I'm very opinionated.
You are.
Well, yeah. And so I have my own sets of opinions. And so debunk that or come up with another idea or solution, you know? And so we're always looking for that. Most people are, to make themselves better. And so, you know, we're going to do that in a way that we, you know, have people tell their story.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's important. And I think lastly is we're determined to get this right. And when you're determined about something, I don't know about you, but maybe I do know about you.
I was going to say.
Well.
Tell me. Tell me more about myself.
I think when you're determined to get this right, it changes the world for you and for your company. Yeah, it's going to be a fun ride here, and I'm excited. So you'll learn more about me, learn more, of course, about you and the guest, and we just move forward. So I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome, Jeff. Thanks so much for being you in this time.
My pleasure. Thanks, Kelly.
Thank you for listening to The Culture of Convenience. For show bios, links, and more, go to cultureofconvenience.com. And as always, we'd love to hear from you. Send us an email or leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts.